right. Well, what's up, guys?
Hey,
Hey, and welcome to episode 59 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. And yes, this is our post Super Bowl special. And I don't think there's a lot of dilly-dallying need to happen here. We're just going to jump right into it. Topic number one in the Super Bowl. I mean, listen, wasn't the best Super Bowl of all time, but it was a good one.
that was decent.
Whole lot better than it was last year. Let me tell you.
And when did the Rams play? Like last,
20.
that 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that Super Bowl is the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That one was bad. But this one saw Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp lead a game-winning drive once again. Joe Burrow coming up just short on an absolutely amazing Cinderella year. Rams taking that 23-20. Cooper Kupp with your Super Bowl MVP. And to me, like, the game was good. The Nothing But Controversy Challenge was a huge success.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations to Ashton Miller-Mello coming away with the $540 pot. My goodness.
No
Congratulations.
there.
Absolutely.
Hey, shout out to my pops, runner-up.
That's a quick bag.
Crazy.
That is. Well, listen, to me, this Super Bowl just confirmed, I guess the playoffs too, confirmed a few things for me. That Aaron Donald is the best player in the world. To me, that confirmed that to me, especially these playoffs. In the most clutch situations, he made the most clutch plays and won his team the games. Number two, Jalen Ramsey is human. Didn't have himself a great playoffs. To be fair, that T. Higgins touchdown probably should have been called back. But he got burned for 160 yards in a Super Bowl. So, yeah, he's human. The Bengals made the correct decision to take Jamar Chase at the draft. A lot of us debated against it. This season confirmed that they made the right choice. Cooper Kupp had the best receiving season of all time. I don't think there's anyone really gonna debate it. Had the Triple Crown, won a Super Bowl MVP. Not much better than that. Joe Burrow is here to stay as one of the next generational QBs. I think we all saw that he is that guy. And above all else, to me, getting drafted into a shitty situation can ruin a QB's image and can undersell his abilities for an entire career. I mean, we just saw it with Matt Stafford. The guy played for Detroit, was labeled as a non-winner because he played in Detroit, lost 3 playoff games, got traded to a fantastic team, and did it. He won the Super Bowl, didn't have the best Super Bowl, threw a couple picks, but he made the throws when they counted. You got to give it to him, man. The guy's here to stay, and if he stays in LA and that team comes back, I think they're probably the NFC favorites once again.
Yeah, so let me ask you guys. Obviously, we heard what Sherman said about Stafford. I kind of agree with him. Like, I think we can all agree, like, if Matt Stafford retired tomorrow, putting your recency bias aside, and 5 years from now when you elect a guy into a Hall of Fame, looking at his accolades, looking at his stats, Matt Stafford's not a Hall of Famer. And I don't think he's close right now. I think he's like a 2 or 3-time Pro Bowler. Has never won an MVP. Has never been in the conversation as the best quarterback in the league in any given season. So I don't know if you guys have any different.
I don't think he's ever even been a top 5 quarterback.
No, like arm talent is one thing, whatever. But yeah, he's never had like a top 3 or 5, like Shane said, quarterback season ever. Look, will that change in LA in the next few years when he has Robert Woods healthy again, Cooper Kupp as the best receiver in the NFL, and maybe Odell if he re-signs? Maybe that'll change. But for me, no, now he got a lot of flack, but I got to agree with Sherman.
I agree with you, but the one thing I have to say is, what if you won another Super Bowl, like in 2 years from now? What would you say? You'd still say no? To me, it's kind of the same thing.
In what way did he change the game to be proven like among the best?
Okay,
I think in general.
Listen to me. Let me finish. Eli Manning.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
He will be.
He's going to be in, but he doesn't deserve to be there.
Yeah. I think, like, I forget, it might have been Sherman who said it too, but the criteria for the Hall of Fame in even the social media generation has just dropped like the
No, and
requirements
that's what I
to
was
be
right
on.
about to say too. Is like Eli Manning will get in because of the rings, but and like the argument is like look at a guy like Dan Marino who's in the Hall of Fame, went to the Super Bowl in his second year and never went back. And bit of a different case, but again, I think we give Stafford a few more years here. But I do agree. It's hard to put him in there right now.
Yeah, right now it's definitely, I think we can all agree on him not being there. The one thing for me is what would he have to do to like, is it another Super Bowl? Is it, an MVP? Well, obviously I think an MVP season would do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like he needs to do a lot more to be in the conversation. So we'll see. He's not done. I could see this guy, playing for a couple more years for sure. He's got at least 5 years of football left in him. So we'll see what's good.
Look, if he comes out the next 3 years and is a Pro Bowler the next 3 years and throws for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns the next 3 years, then he definitely jumps into a conversation, and during that time makes some playoff runs and hopefully another Super Bowl. He's definitely in the conversation. But right now, even with the recency bias of him just winning a Super Bowl, yeah, like you said, he's got to do a lot more.
And speaking on that recency bias as well, the Rams were I think they were close to losing that Super Bowl. I think the Bengals lost that game more than the Rams. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. The Rams defense stood up, but the Bengals, they were getting stops the entire second half, and that offense just couldn't score.
Stafford in no way won that game for the Rams.
I agree.
In no way is that Super Bowl win Stafford.
I definitely agree with that.
Stafford looked like he did all year, and he was tied for the league lead in picks this year. Like like a lot of people that's not being mentioned anywhere. And I know like that's the gunslinger way, and it's kind of the way Stafford's been, but you can't have that. And especially like the Bengals have one touchdown drive in the fourth quarter there. That game is lights out. Like
I was very surprised I don't know. I really thought, the Bengals were going to pull it. Just to me, that entire second half felt like the Bengals were going to put it to bed eventually, and they just never did.
I strongly believe that Zach Taylor made way too many mistakes.
Yeah.
The Bengals. Like, when you're – the way that Joe Mixon was absolutely playing in that game, how can you justify putting Samaje Perine in the game when the game's on the line?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. It's not like – I understand Samaje Perine's a power back and you're going to make it look like you're going to run the ball on 4th and 1. But it's not like we're going from, like, Aaron Jones to A.J. Dillon. Like, Joe Mixon could get you that yard. Like, he could fight for that yard, and he's going to catch the ball. At that point, everybody knew the odds that you were giving Perine the ball were basically zero. Just leave Mixon in the game. The way he was balling out, they couldn't stop Mixon regardless. He was getting, like, 5-6 yards a carry anyway. So I don't know why he took him out, but to me, it was more on Zach Taylor. I liked what he was doing in the first half, getting the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands quickly on those quick routes, and that's probably why Joe Mixon was playing so well. But in the second half, it just seemed like he couldn't adjust to the Rams' adjustments to getting pressure on Burrow.
Yeah, but for me, it shouldn't have got to that. Like we all know, like second and short, any other situation, like second and short, you can take your shot. But when you're putting together a Super Bowl winning drive, you don't need to go deep on 2nd and 1. Take your first down, keep going, like play it safe. And they didn't, and they caused it. Like Joe Burrow, obviously there was the whole thing where Jamar slipped and whatever, and it could have been the greatest play in the Super Bowl. But no, for me, if I was in that situation, I'm handing the ball off 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down, just picking up the first, playing it safe. So for me, the fact that it even got to that is a problem in itself.
That's what I was going to say. Think about the whole sequence. 2nd and 1, there was the busted route. 3rd and 1, you hand the ball off to Perine when he probably shouldn't have been in the game. I understand he's also great. He's their best pass blocking back, no doubt about that. But if you're putting him in the game on 3rd and 1, use him to do what he does best. Don't hand the ball off to him right up the middle, right at Aaron Donald. Especially the way he was playing, the momentum.
Especially the fact that your O-line just pissed him off because he took a clean hit at your quarterback.
Anyways.
It's literally how Aaron Donald got going in that game. Aaron Donald was quiet until there was a hit along the sideline on Joe Burrow, and Bengals O-line, which, they're going to defend their quarterback, defended their quarterback, and then Aaron Donald got going.
Very clean hit, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways. That's that.
Yeah, congratulations to the Rams, Super Bowl champs. I think they're here to stay. So is Sean McVay. I'm happy for that guy. But yeah, that does it for the 2021-2022 NFL season. It is quite sad to say that we will not have another football game for.
It is. I think it's 204 days or something.
Matt, start a new countdown, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, should I start the countdown to the draft or start the countdown to the season?
Regular season week 1.
All right.
Jacksonville Jaguars, you are on the clock. Cannot wait for the mock draft episode again.
That is quite exciting.
Instant classic.
Instant classic. But yeah, with that being said, like I said, the season's done, and what that brings is us reminiscing about the season. So we're gonna give some NBC season recap awards. So not necessarily an MVP, or we're gonna come up with like different kind of things. So we have awards here like Game of the Year, which I think may be unanimous. Play of the Year, Story of the Year, Biggest Surprise, Favorite Player to Watch, and maybe one prediction for 2022-2023. Start with Game of the Year. Maybe it won't be unanimous, but I'm sure I won't be the only one to say it. Bills Chiefs in the divisional round. There's not much to say about it. High scoring. Whoever got the ball in overtime won the game. And it was the last 2 minutes. It was maybe the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter were maybe the most exciting I've ever seen in a football game.
Yeah. If there was 2 hosts on this show, it would be unanimous because going up second, I have the exact same game. We spoke about it after. Like, that was one of the best, if not the best football games we've ever seen, let alone this season, like our lifetimes. That was one of the best games we've ever seen. Don't know when we'll see another one like it, but I hope we do very soon. So, yeah, Bills Chiefs, absolutely my game of the year.
Yeah, so if there was 3 hosts on the podcast, it would also be unanimous. That was just, the greatest quarterback duel I think I've seen in my life. Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes just going back and forth. You guys said it. It was game of the year by a long shot for me.
Yeah, I'm right on board with you guys. Nothing to add. Might be the best game we see for the next 10 years too. Who knows?
What? Shane, you are muted, sir.
5 for 5.
There we go.
There we go.
Love to hear it.
Alrighty. Yeah, so that makes sense. But here I think it's where it may go off tangent here for play of the year. I actually have 2. I have one in the regular season, one in the playoffs. The regular season one, it was the play of the year in the NFL honors, and that's Justin Tucker's 66-yard record-setting field goal to beat the Lions. I thought, I was watching that play live, and I've never felt that way for a field goal. It was so electric. One of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen. The way it bounced off the upright through the goalpost was unbelievable to me. But the other one I have here is perhaps one of the most clutch throws and one of the most clutch connections I've ever seen, and that would be Matt Stafford to Cooper Kupp against the Bucs after the Bucs tied it 27-27, and Stafford unloaded an absolute bomb to Cooper Kupp, which set them up on the 5-yard line, which ended up sending them to the NFC Championship. I thought that was the play of the year. Most clutch play, in my opinion. Unreal.
Yeah, so I'm going similar situation. I'm going to hop into the playoffs, but I'm going to just go with that Patty Mahomes to Kelsey throw to force the field goal, to force overtime. It's just such a cool story, when they retell it, saying Kelsey basically just looked back at Patty and said, we're doing what we just spoke about. Insane drive, part of the best game of the year. My favorite play of the year. It was cool. You saw him lined up in the slot. You almost knew it was coming. I don't know how the Bills didn't, but definitely my play of the year.
Yeah, when that play happened, it reminded me of that Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey angle route, that wheel route.
Legendary.
And switched it to a Texas route, which is sick. There were so many good plays this year in the NFL, and I couldn't really choose one, so I decided to go a little different here and bring it to the Pro Bowl. Mac Jones touchdown, which did not count, and hit the Grady.
Was
Mac
blown
Jones hit the
dead
Grady.
way earlier.
It was blown dead probably 60 yards before he reached the end zone, but hitting the Grady was just a cherry on top, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the play of the year.
I love it.
Yeah, again, so many honorable mention to that Kelsey catch at the end of regulation there, but I'm gonna go with a Jalen Hurts touchdown that came against the Saints. It was 3rd and 6. The Saints were up. I mean, the Eagles were up 10 or 11, I think, at the time. He just kept on a little simple like inside zone, little zone read, kept it, made a guy miss, dropped the guy. I don't even remember who it was, and then scrambled in. Ended up being the tiebreaker for the Eagles to make the playoffs. All for nothing, unfortunately, but great play from my guy Jalen.
I got one that was just an important play that led to the Bengals being where they were, and that's the Jermaine Pratt interception against the Raiders. That game was very close to being the Raiders' game to win, and Jermaine Pratt came up when he needed to. It was a bend don't break play, and literally had to start somewhere, and that was the first weekend of the playoffs, and Jermaine Pratt came away with the dub.
Funny how they got 2 of those, in back-to-back weeks, because it was, who was it, Cheeto the next week that had the one on Tannehill, breakup by Eli Apple.
Oh man, yeah, and then Von Bell got one against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So,
Yeah. Some good plays. I like the.
you know what? Another honorable mention to, I don't even know who the Niners player was that blocked the punt again when they played the Packers to win that game. That was a ridiculous, or to tie that game. Ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we did game of the year and play of the year. And I kind of just threw one in here called story of the year. I kind of explained it's just take it as you want. But like the way I took it is like something that like really like caught the attention of like, let's say like Twitter and just blew up Twitter and really like made it craze in the NFL. And mine's actually a very sad one. And that's Henry Ruggs' DUI resulting in his death in death and the arrest. I thought that was like the biggest like wake up call, not only for the NFL but for the world, and just like how that story can like teach about DUIs and drinking and driving and how dangerous it can be. Not to mention the fact that it's not a superstar, but a star in the NFL who's super young, who just basically threw his life away because of a poor decision. And it's so terrible to say. The Twitter world blew up, and it's to me that was the story of the year, and it's quite unfortunate.
And what's even more unfortunate is that players from the same organization are getting caught doing the exact same thing, which is crazy to me. Obviously, in that whole situation, we learned, if you didn't know before, that NFL players pay a part of their salary. It's taken out automatically. It's not an option to have drivers at all time if they needed to, which blows my mind even more. But anyways, my play of the year, if we're talking going viral and taking Twitter by storm, there is no bigger story than Antonio Brown quitting on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the New York Jets. There's no bigger story. There's so many I wanted to talk about. And, you know, after the boys go, I'll kind of drop off some honorable mentions, but no bigger story in the NFL than AB this year.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to go with AB as well. Like that just blew up Twitter. But I kind of wanted to go with a feel-good story. You know, we just spoke about this guy a lot. You know, I kind of slandered him a bit. But Matt Stafford getting his ring, I think is big. You know, I think is one of the bigger, stories of the year. And Matt gave off all the points early on, how, you know, he's been labeled as a loser, as a guy who can't win, you know, as just an average quarterback. But at the same time, he showed what he can do on a good football team. And, you know, I think that was huge for him in his career.
Yeah, I didn't really choose a single event here. I didn't realize we were doing that, but I kind of went the Raiders as a whole, you know, from Ruggs to Gruden. Mayock ended up being fired, and then for Bisaccia to keep that team together and for them to rally and make the playoffs, I think great story. Good for those guys, you know. Unfortunate that they didn't keep him, but I think they're happy with Josh McDaniels.
Absolutely.
Before I go, I want to bring up another play I forgot to bring up. The Jamal Agnew kick return touchdown.
Sick.
Kickoff, the field goal, the missed field goal. That was
Yeah.
like a 68-yard field goal attempt, which was retarded, but whatever. I'm surprised one of you guys didn't say it. The year of Shiesty, boys.
Yeah.
That guy coming back off of ACL injury with, like Matt said before, everybody debating should they have gone Penei Sewell at 5. Obviously not going there. They're going with Chase. He came out, won comeback player of the year, brought a Bengals team that I literally never thought I'd say was going to play in a Super Bowl and never thought I would see play in a Super Bowl. He brought them in and was a 4th-and-1 stop away from having a chance to actually win that game and only lost by 3. So to me, it's the year of Shiesty.
I mean, you look at the beginning of the year, no one is saying the Bengals are finishing even second in that division.
Dude,
Like the Browns and the
Analysts had
Ravens were locks to be
Analysts
1 and 2.
yeah. Analysts had the Bengals going like 2-15 before the season
Yeah.
started.
Like there was a lot of them having them like have the first overall
Yeah.
pick again.
Yeah.
And like if you literally see like stories of Joe Burrow's first day in training camp, people are like, "Oh, is it time to worry about him because he can't complete a pass? Oh, is it time to
Yeah.
worry about Jamar Chase because he can't catch a pass?"
You can't see the ball. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was crazy. That felt so long ago. But some of the other stories, very quickly, Liam was a big part of this, but the slander on the Chiefs at the beginning of the year
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
crazy.
Liam was the
And how they
leader.
turned that ship around was wild. That was
I
one of my
agree.
favorite stories. And then obviously the first time I've ever seen this, the last week of the NFL, the last game of the NFL regular season came down to the ability to force a tie and both teams get into the playoffs was crazy to me. Definitely a crazy storyline, but all in all, we said it all year. One of the best NFL seasons we've ever seen. And we could sit here and talk about our favorite stories for 3 hours, but we got to move on.
Yeah,
think the last
one
one,
more thing. Aaron Rodgers and the immunocompromised thing. That was
That's a crazy story too.
I mean, Tom Brady retiring could be in there too, I guess.
Also that. Jesus Christ.
A lot of stories, but
Wild year.
yeah. The next award we're going to give out is for biggest surprise. And for me, it's the Bengals making the Super Bowl. I mean, we just said it. A bunch of analysts had them going 2-15, getting the first overall pick, and these guys make the Super Bowl. Shocking.
For me, similar, but Cooper Kupp having the best receiver season of all time. Going into the year, fantasy drafts, whatever, like maybe I'm crazy, but like there was no clear-cut number one receiver, even on that team. Like Robert Woods made the case to be the number one receiver on that team. Maybe fantasy-wise, Kupp would have edged him out a little bit, but for Cooper Kupp to have the best receiver season of all time, for me, when he wasn't even a top 5 guy last year, is kind of mind-blowing to me. So Cooper Kupp definitely crazy surprise.
I was flip-flopping between the two, the Bengals reaching a Super Bowl and Cooper Kupp. But I ended up going with the Bengals. We just spoke about it. They weren't supposed to be there, and they took the world by storm. So I think to me that's the biggest surprise of the NFL season.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp also. Like absolutely ridiculous what he did. I mean, forget who there was a receiver. Oh, it was Devontae said in 2020. I think Cooper Kupp's the most underrated receiver in the league.
Yep.
And he proved it this year because he's
Big time.
definitely not underrated anymore.
Nope.
That was in season, but postseason gotta be Tom Brady retiring for me. Like if you'd have told me that before the year started, and then after the
If you
season,
told me that a week before it happened, I would have said
I still
yeah.
don't think he's gone.
Well, that's it. Like the way he played at 44 and all that, like for him to just walk away, it definitely surprised me. I mean, good for him, but it surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go with the Bengals, but I kind of knew someone else was gonna bring it up. So, this one, it's kind of about the NFL, but not really. It's the fall off of the QB prospects. We were sitting here at the beginning of the year, and we were talking about the first 2 picks are gonna be Howell and Rattler. and now they're not even like in the first
Yeah.
round, and Rattler's staying in college. So the fact that it kind of altered the draft and how teams are going to have to look at it, and now teams are saying there's not even like a first, like a good starter in the draft. So teams are going to have to reevaluate that. And obviously the Jags at number 1 aren't going to take a quarterback regardless, even if Rattler and Howell balled out like they were supposed to. But, the Lions might have taken one now. We're sitting here talking about them taking a defensive end. So the QB prospects falling off the board is what surprised me the most.
Yeah.
You
And
know
even the
what's-
QB prospects we saw this year.
I was right about to say that.
Yeah.
I was right about to say that. I
Like,
thought
they
at least one
suck.
of them was going to like take the league by storm. And I guess we could say Mac Jones surprised a lot of people. I don't think he was like offensive rookie of the year or anything.
I
But
think the biggest surprise was the fact that Trevor Lawrence wasn't like great.
yeah.
I think he will be. Just
Yeah.
give him some time.
But apparently, like Trey Lance's MVP odds are bumping now. Like they started like 200 to 1, and like so many people bet on him that now it's down to 75 to 1.
Well, I will fade that till the day. I
Yeah,
die.
I'm not having that one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. We got two little things here left. I guess the last award we're gonna give out is our favorite player to watch. I mean, we've said his name freaking 20 times today. That's Cooper Kupp. Personally, as a receiver and a receiver coach, if I'm gonna tell any receiver how do I want them to run their route, how do I want them to study the game, I'm gonna tell them to watch Cooper Kupp highlights. Hands of gold. His footwork
That
is
man can get open.
Dude, his footwork is unmatched. He's not the fastest guy. He ran a 4.62 at his combine. And
Crazy.
he's getting 5 yards of separation on any route he wants. It's ridiculous. There's a reason why separation in the NFL is so important and why speed as a receiver isn't the most important thing to have, because your footwork and your route running ability to get you separation is, to me, the most important thing. Then it's catching, but if you're going to be a receiver, you're going to have to catch the ball regardless. So Cooper Kupp, his season, the guy didn't have an off game. Every time the Rams went on, he was the player to watch on offense. Like, it was unreal. Absolutely deserving of Offensive Rookie of the Year and deserving of an MVP vote.
Definitely didn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but that's fine.
Did I say that? Offensive Player of the Year. My bad.
For me, let the bias shine through. My favorite player to watch this year was Jonathan Taylor. Just the emergence of him in general was unreal. But there were so many things I loved about his game this year. Like, I didn't know he had hands like that. I didn't know he had wheels like that. Like, the guy is just so impressive. Makes me really excited to be a Colts fan. It's one of the only things, considering, we probably don't have our quarterback anymore. But yeah, no, Jonathan Taylor was absolutely electric to watch.
Yeah, I have one super biased choice and one the most unbiased choice you could have. The first one is Ramondre Stevenson. I just love those thick backs, bro. I don't know why.
My boy.
Boss, I love those thick backs. I was a huge LeGarrette Blount fan growing up. I don't know why. I just love those type of running backs. But for the unbiased choice, it's Josh Allen. I hate that it's Josh Allen, but that guy's just different, man. He's actually, this season was really eye-opening to me, and I'm scared that we have to face the Bengals twice a year for, forever. But yeah, Josh Allen is probably my favorite player to watch right now.
I have two here. The first half of the year for me was Kyler. I feel like that's kind of becoming an annual thing with him. Like, he and the whole Cardinals in general. They're
Russell Wilson syndrome.
They're so good in the first half of the year, and then it kind of falls off. But he was so fun to watch this year at the beginning, anyways. And second half of the year, kind of surprised this guy hasn't come up. Obviously, I love Cooper Kupp. I love Josh Allen. JT, there's no going wrong with any of these guys. But what Deebo Samuel did in San Fran was
hell yeah.
ridiculous. Guy was playing all over the field. We haven't seen that in quite a while, if ever, really. Like, that's a real Swiss Army knife.
Shocked he didn't get an Offensive Player of the Year vote. I'm shocked.
He was, but I think because if that vote had happened after the playoffs, I think he would have had a few votes. That vote happens before the playoffs start, I'm pretty sure, for the awards. So super fun guy to watch.
I'm also going with a quarterback here, and I don't think it's going to come as any surprise. to any
Mike
group.
Glennon.
Oh, love watching him. I'm going to tell my quarterback to watch Mike Glennon highlights, get ready for the games. But Justin Herbert, my guy out there in LA, still not over the Raiders not giving me the chance to watch him in the playoffs, because the way the playoffs set up this year, it literally could have been him in the Super Bowl. So it's great to see in the NFL that it's not always going to be the teams on top like we've seen for so long. So maybe next year he can make a run. But I like the improvements from Justin Herbert. That deep ball, he got Mike Williams going early, and it didn't really stop. That O-line kind of protected him this year. They still need a few upgrades. Rashawn Slater was lights out for him. I think I'm low-key starting to be a closeted Chargers fan because they got my boy Derwin James back there too. I was so happy to see him back this year, but Justin Herbert was the man.
All right. And our last little award here is going to be, it's not really an award, but more of a prediction. So your one prediction for 2022, 2023. And the next season, I have one that's maybe not so bold and one that's pretty bold. The one that I would say is not so bold is Derrick Henry coming back, reasserting himself as the best running back in the NFL, winning comeback player of the year. I don't think that's super crazy to think. I mean, he won offensive player of the year or whatever last year, right? Didn't he? Yeah, he won that. I mean, I can't see it changing. I can't see him coming back and just not being the same. I think he took the time he needed, and he's going to come back and just run all over the league once again. And my crazy one is not only will Russell Wilson no longer be a Seahawk, but he will be a Philadelphia Eagle by the start of the season. That is my prediction.
Interesting.
No, thank you.
I have two as well.
Oh, thank you is right.
Yeah.
First one is similar to Matt's. I have my prediction is either Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor are going to break the single season rushing record. Okay, one of the two. If it happens by someone else, I didn't get it right. And number two, Carson Wentz will not be the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and Carson Wentz will not be a starter anywhere. Yeah, that's the prediction. I don't know who the Colts are going to sign. Anyone but Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm happy. But Carson Wentz will not be the QB for the Montreal. It's for the Indianapolis.
Oh,
Colts.
he might.
He might be.
Yeah, my prediction ties into my favorite player to watch. I'm gonna say that Josh Allen wins MVP.
Ramondre Stevenson wins MVP.
He breaks the single season rushing record.
I wish I thought of this before I saw the parade stuff today, because I was kind of banking on this party being broken up, and I'm not sure it's going to happen anymore. But my, I guess, bold one is the Niners are going to win the NFC West next year. A little bit banking on a guy who we haven't seen in Trey Lance, but
Trey Lance for MVP.
Nope.
75-1.
I'd rather burn my money.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm definitely not going to put money on that. But yeah, it's a bit of a bold one, but I like it.
I'm gonna go with the quarterbacks too. 8 teams, so a quarter of the league at least, is gonna have a new starting quarterback next year, and none of them are gonna be rookies. It's all gonna be guys like Russ switching team, Deshaun Watson coming back. I'm even gonna throw Kyler in there. I don't think he's gonna be back in Arizona. Just the things I've been seeing is it's not a healthy relationship right now with Arizona and Kyler Murray. Rodgers, Brady's gonna be back.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G's gone. So I'm
Did
saying
you
at
guys-
least
Sorry.
a quarter of the league, not including rookies, is gonna have a new starting quarterback that was already in the NFL.
Wow. Speaking of the Kyler relationship with the Cardinals, did you see the rumors that Hollywood Brown is retiring from football and becoming a
Yeah.
pro gamer?
Saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. Deleted all his posts with related to the Ravens.
And apparently unfollowed like all his teammates or something.
Yeah, and has just been going crazy with the gaming stuff and says he thinks like gaming is a better future for him than football and things like
Because
that.
he can't catch a ball.
Yeah. But yeah.
Him and AB have been talking a little bit too much.
Oh man.
All right. Well, those are our 2021 NFL season recap awards. Our next topic here. I mean, we're filming. It's Wednesday today, and Monday was Valentine's Day. We did this little segment last year, and the question is, who is your sports Valentine? And maybe we should just name this episode the Cooper Cup episode. But the entire season, Cooper Cup has just come in clutch for the kid. I mean, I bet his over reception prop after week 2 every single week. And I think he went like 12-3 for me. So that's fantastic. I bet I'm winning Super Bowl MVP. He came in clutch for me. What can I say? Cooper Cup, I'm in love with your game.
Second year in a row, not changing my Valentine. My Valentine is from the NBA, the cutest man in the NBA, Boban. He just will treat me right. He looks so nice. Boban, you're my Valentine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off the board. This player maybe a lot of money actually over the past week or so, and that's Evander Kane. His shots on goal
Man.
total hit, I think, 7 straight games since he got to the Oilers. It didn't hit last night, unfortunately, but respect to him for putting some pucks on net.
Didn't he punch some guy in the face last night?
He did.
Yeah.
It was
That's what he does
It was
best.
There was a bit of a
well.
dive there, and that guy's a bitch. So,
That's what
Yeah.
he does best.
mine's gonna be a bit more on the breakup side, but I still want him to know that we're still here for him and we love him and we thank him for everything. And that's Tyler Toffoli, a guy that after all the quotes 2 days ago, you saw that he definitely wanted to be in Montreal. All the guys loved him, but he took it on the chin, said it was a part of the business. So he's my Valentine. Had a beauty of a goal last night for Calgary. So wish him all
Fuck
the
every
best.
sports betting app in the world.
He's a great pro.
Shockingly, I have Tyler Toffoli too. I'm not going to get too much into it because I got a lot to say later, but I'm heartbroken. I'm devastated that he's gone. Like he said, it's part of the business, but he's not a guy that I thought should have been gone. But I'll get more into it later. I love you, Tyler.
All right. We're going to switch gears here and head to the NBA, and we're going to talk about, personally, I think it's the greatest trade deadline in sports. Every year for the NBA, there's something crazy going on at the trade deadline, especially in the most recent years where everyone's becoming divas. But listen, the trade deadline happened, and there were some massive franchise-changing moves. First one here, I'm not going to get into too many details, but James Harden got traded to the Sixers
Nets robbed him.
with a return of Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, a pick or 2 picks. I don't know how much. It was a load. It was a lot. And the other big one would be Sabonis to Sacramento for Tyrese Halliburton.
Speaking of robbery.
Absolutely massive trades. I'm not going to get into it too much because I know you guys have big things to say, but seeing the Nets, like NBA title odds, go down after the trade is a bit surprising. I like their team now. I think they added some good pieces. Ben Simmons got to come back.
Exactly what they were missing.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year he plays. Like that's something you need. Kevin is going to complement Kevin Durant very well. Apparently, Kevin Durant and James Harden just weren't getting along. Apparently, Kevin Durant and Steve Nash wanted a free-flowing offense, while James Harden wanted an iso ball offense. And apparently, they clashed heads on that, and that's a big reason why he wanted out.
Yeah, because James Harden can't score unless he's getting to the free throw line.
No, but I saw this thing as well. I don't know if you saw it. It was Curry was like mic'd up or something. And he was talking to some coach. And they were just talking about the whole Harden thing. And I don't know if this was before or after or whatever. But Harden basically, he came up to Curry and he's like, look, like, I love your game. Like, it's fun, this and that. Like, the pretty offense, the flowing offense, whatever. But he basically just said, like, look, I want to play hero ball. Like, he doesn't want to be on. Not that he doesn't want to be on a super team, but he just wants.
He wants
he's a
the ball.
selfish. He's a selfish basketball player. Like
He wants to be the guy.
yeah.
And he went to a place where he's still not going to be the
But
guy.
we also knew that from the beginning, when he went to the Nets. We said from the imagine this team now with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Karis LeVert, and Jared Allen. You know what I mean? We said it from the beginning, but they dumped off Harden and got, I think, as much as you possibly could have gotten for him. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone could have given you more, possibly, but
Yeah, I think they really took advantage of the Sixers situation. I think the Sixers think their window to win is right now. And I think James Harden was the piece they think, will get them to that chip. And for the Nets, this doesn't, like Matt said, I don't think this really this doesn't knock their odds of going to a chip down. They get a guy who can pass the ball very well, can play great defense. They got a shooter in Seth Curry to replace Harris, who's out for the year. I really liked it I like it for both teams. I honestly do think the Nets won the trade long term, but if the Sixers go and win a chip this year or next year, that's a win.
what they wanted.
And I don't know, everyone. I kind of like, speaking of the Pacers and Kings trade, I kind of like the trade for both teams. Obviously, trading Halliburton is very questionable.
You could have made that trade with De'Aaron Fox 100%, without a doubt.
I agree, and I thought that was the piece that they were gonna move, but I also think they can make this work. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis is a great duo. When it comes to the Pacers, I think they're gonna end up keeping Turner this year, or they're gonna keep him long term, and that's another great duo. They got some.
Don't do it to me, LBS. Don't do it to me.
I don't know. I think Turner's happy with the trade, and I think if he wants to stay and the organization wants to keep him, they're gonna be good. I think they're gonna be good. They're gonna be a scary team. So it was a crazy deadline, to say the least. One of the craziest I think we've seen since forever, in our lifetime. A lot of these teams like to wait till the offseason and make big splashes like that, but this year was different.
I mean, look, obviously 4 out of the 5 of us here are Raptors fans. And like Shane kind of alluded to, with the Raptors not getting Miles Turner, who's been linked to the Raptors, all year in trade docs since he's wanted out of Indiana.
Bro, all year. It's been like 3 years.
Yeah. But I think like it stings even more watching games now and seeing how bad we need a 7-footer. Like we need one so desperately. The last
Bro, Siakam's not a center.
No, at all.
I don't get it.
He's a questionable 4 at that. He's 130 pounds. Like
I think the Raptors are like kind of like stuck in the mindset that they just want like 6'8" freaks all over the floor. And when we go and play big men, like JV torched us. I know,
Jokic.
Like, how do we play?
Jokic torches everybody.
How do we defend guys? Obviously, you're right. Embiid, Jokic, those are guys who can drop fucking 40 on it. Doesn't matter
On
who's
anyone.
there.
Yeah.
But
JV was
how are
traded
we
because
gonna
he couldn't
defend
play
him?
in the modern NBA, and now he's coming back and absolutely ripping the Raptors apart.
yeah.
Look, the Raptors have sick pieces, but like they don't have a basketball team right now.
They just got a bunch of athletes.
Yeah.
They
Literally.
got a bunch of freak athletes. But the Raps did try it. I'll give it to them. They did try and get a center. They offered a first over to Brooklyn for Nick Claxton, who's a big
that
center.
would have been huge.
That would have been huge. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it fell apart. But that
What
was
about Pirtle? I heard a lot of stuff about him coming back.
yeah. There was apparently like every team in the league wanted Pirtle, and the Spurs just kept him. I guess drive up his value in the summer. But Claxton would have been huge. A guy who's still on his rookie contract, and literally Kevin Durant came out and said he has the potential to be one of the best centers in the NBA.
Also a great athlete. I think he would complement the Raptors so well.
Yeah.
So like right now, what the Raptors are doing with Siakam is not working. And
No.
Kem Birch is not a starting center, and Chris Boucher is not a starting center, and Thaddeus Young is not a starting center.
No.
Like they're bringing a bunch of guys that can play very well basketball and pass and can do everything you need in a basketball player. But when it comes down to playing defense, it's literally all right, just get the ball in the hole and let the center do his thing, and nobody's gonna stop him.
Look, if you can acquire a center in the offseason, a youngish center, and roll the next 4 or 5 years with Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes, Siakam, and center X, like you are in the conversation in the East.
The Raptors have an argument that they have a top 5 scoring team.
Absolutely.
But you're gonna have to outscore people 120 to 115 just to win.
Because we can't play the Sixers in the playoffs with Embiid. We can't don't have anyone to guard Giannis. I don't think anyone really does, but even size wise.
With the Nets now, with the Nets getting Andre Drummond, the Raptors aren't stopping them either.
No, so obviously a clear need, a clear piece there. And something that Marc Gasol did. Wasn't a huge body, but could play fucking defense.
But he was also a defensive player of the year winner. One thing, I don't know if you guys heard, but before the draft, the Knicks wanted to trade to the 4th overall pick. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you guys this question. The Raptors wanted RJ Barrett. That was the deal. 4 for RJ. Looking back at what Scotty Barnes has done this year and what RJ Barrett has done in his year, would you take that trade? Would you rather have Scotty Barnes or RJ Barrett right now?
Right now, with the team the Raptors have, I'd rather have Scotty because you have Trent, you have Fred. Like you don't need another. Like you need a little but then we have so much length. I don't know. I love Scotty though. I can't possibly imagine him not a Raptor.
No, yeah.
I think for sure Scotty's the guy that had to stay, but
yeah.
That's a really
credit to LDS. Credit to LDS because he called it in the summer.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I think the Raptors might go with this guy from Florida State, like Scotty Barnes, and we're all like, and then look at how it's turned out. So
it is weird to think though, if they do, when they do eventually get a center, who's moving to the bench?
Scotty.
Is it Scotty?
I'm hearing like they're already planning on moving Scotty to the bench now.
But long term, you can't do that to your 4th overall lottery pick. Like,
I mean, he was a 6th man in college.
I guess.
Like he didn't start at FSU.
Yeah, and you just gotta love his versatility. He could start the game. It doesn't matter any position on the floor.
Well,
so when you have him as a 6th man, one of your starters needs a night off. He's out. Scotty slips in perfectly without
But you can also go center, whoever your center is. Siakam at 4, Scotty at 3, and then Gary and Fred.
So no OG.
Yeah, I was gonna say OG.
Yeah, but I feel like OG could thrive in a 6-man role.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like it's not like, and even worst case, if you need scoring off the bench, Gary Trent can come off the bench. Like if you need, I feel like they have options to mix and match.
I just
they don't need a one guy is always the 6th man type of team.
Yeah, no, I obviously don't know the guy, but Gary he seems like he'd have an attitude to come off the bench. I don't know, just me.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's possible.
Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah. Speaking of trade deadlines, one's coming up quick, and that's the NHL trade deadline. And we're kind of going to talk about the Habs because, we're a Montreal podcast and the Habs rebuilding. And the process has started. Shane has alluded to it before. Tyler Toffoli got traded to Calgary in what seems to be the first of many Habs to be offloaded. Personally, I'm not too invested into the rebuild. I know Shane is, and he said he had a lot to say. So I'm going to go ahead and let him take the floor.
I mean, listen, there's guys that could be around for a rebuild, and there's guys you need around, vets that you need around young kids, and Tyler Toffoli was that. Okay, I understand that package. I was fully on board with Tyler Toffoli's a guy you need to keep. He's, in my opinion, and a lot of people are going to disagree with what I say right now, but Tyler Toffoli should have been the next captain of the Montreal Canadiens.
He literally
Forget Gallagher for
Jake Evans like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Like Caulfield loved him, Suzuki loved him. Like these are the guys you're building your team around, and you're going to trade. Obviously, they know it's a business, but he's one of the guys that should have kept. The package, like I said, is one that you can't pass up. And listening to Kent Hughes talk today in his presser. It made me. I already liked the package. I told you guys it was a good package what they got, but the way he talked about Heineman this morning made me think even higher of the package because he's right. Because if you go in and you say, okay, I'm going to trade Tyler Toffoli for a first, a second, a roster player, and a fifth, you're looking at that second round pick only coming in 3 to 4 years. Heineman was drafted 2 years ago. So that's 2 years advance in the process. So we're sitting here maybe next year, maybe the year after, instead of waiting 4 years for a second round pick. I don't think he should have been the first guy moved if he was moved. They brought in Martin St. Louis, and I think that he needs guys in the locker room that are leaders. And right now, Montreal doesn't have those guys. And like I said, Toffoli should have been the next captain. So they should have kept him as long as they could. At the deadline, you were still getting that same package. He's still got 2 years left on his contract. He's not an expiring deal where teams are going to be like, you know what? I only have him for 20 games. I'll just give you a first instead of a first, a prospect, another pick, and another player. So I think, to me, Jeff Petrie needs to go the way that he's canceling all his media availability. He's not showing up to the podium. He wants out. He's gone. Like, he is checked out mentally of being in Montreal. His family moved out of Montreal. They're in the States now. They're gone. He wants out. He wants to go to Dallas. His wife is from Texas. He wants to go there. The Sherratt deal is coming down soon. It's unfortunate. A guy that I said at the beginning of the year I'd be upset if he was traded, but it's got to happen. And I will be, regardless of the package they get. I will still be upset when Ben Sherratt's traded because he is one of my favorite players on the Habs. But then you look at it, Sherratt, Petrie, Toffoli. Who's your leader in that group aside from Gallagher? You can't just have one leader, So I don't know what Montreal needs to do. It's obviously the rebuild is something that we need, and Bergevin never really did that rebuild. And the way they drafted is something that completely screwed Montreal's future because he didn't hit on one first-round pick. You could argue that, Caulfield is in the NHL, whatever. He has not hit on one first-round pick. Galchenyuk did not hit. Nikita Sherbak, I don't even know if he's still playing hockey. Michael McCarron is in the AHL in Nashville.
Is it good?
Noah Juleson is in the AHL on his third team in 3 years or 2 years. Caden Gooley, yeah, he looks like he's a stud, but it's a different thing being a stud in the OHL in the WHL than it is in the NHL.
KK doesn't play for you.
What?
KK doesn't play for
Yeah,
you.
Kotkaniemi's gone. So that's
Probably the worst one.
Yeah. Two guys we just talked about, third overall, didn't make it past 5 seasons with your team, or 6 seasons with Galchenyuk, I think. So, he set up. I liked Bergevin. I talked about how I liked Bergevin, but drafting-wise, it wasn't good enough. And hopefully we'll see Kent Hughes. Now he's got 2 first-round picks. Probably get a third one. Normally teams cap out at 3 first-round picks, so he'll probably get more picks for next year's draft. But I'm seeing a lot that they want prospects back, and the Rangers are a big team that they're talking to right now, trying to get some young defensemen for Ben Sherratt. The Rangers have drafted so many defensemen in the past few years, and they're all studs. So I'll be interested to see what goes on there. But I don't know. I think when you look at this team now, it's hard to find a team that's someone that's going to take the young kids under their wing. Like, Jake Evans is in his second year. Suzuki's in his third year, and he's 21? Suzuki's younger than all of us, I'm pretty sure. Caulfield has been struggling in the NHL, and he looked up to Toffoli. He looked up to Perry. These are guys that walked out that are gone now. You could still talk to them, but they're not in the locker room seeing you every day. Weber's gone. That's obviously not the fault of Hughes or Bergevin. Price is gone, hasn't really been around, so I don't know. They got to get a vet in here somehow and see what these kids could do, though.
I think that's kind of why they made the move to hire St. Louis, though. I think he's basically he's like a captain that just also tells you what to do and wears a suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely a player's coach.
At this point, I was big on the Brandon Gallagher should be the next captain of the Habs. Before, if you're gonna start the rebuild, look, Weber, thank you for your time. You're not the captain anymore. You're not playing. There needs to be a guy in that locker room that has the C on his chest. And if you're embracing this rebuild, if this is the way you're going, and it is the way you're going, you're walking in that room at the end of the season and you're handing Nick Suzuki a sweater with the C on it. That's the way I look at it if you're going to trade all the vets. So I guess, I mean, I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know what's going on, but that's my take on the Habs and the direction they're going in right now.
Yeah, I definitely I agree with that last point, big time. I think the Toffoli deal, and we're gonna see the Sherrod deal, and I believe as well we're gonna see the Petrie deal, is full indication that we're blowing the shit up, and I think naming Nick Suzuki captain would be the next step.
He signed for 8 years. It's not like
Exactly.
I have to worry about
Yeah,
him
no,
leaving
no.
in 3 years. He's
Exactly.
locked in for 8 years.
Right. And I think that is the next step when it comes to, giving your team an identity. Because clearly right now they have none. This team is AHLers, guys you've never heard of, guys we just traded for or picked up on waivers. It's really uninspiring hockey they're playing, which is understandable. We're going to have the first pick, knock on wood, nothing stupid happens in the lottery.
I've said this to you guys.
Yeah,
first
we're not going to have it. But
Okay,
it's-
wait.
the draft is in Montreal,
Season
so-
ended today. What's the lowest we could drop?
Third.
Okay, that's what's gonna happen. So just
I don't think. I think they'll get the first. I just don't think that Shane Wright is the right fit for Montreal.
Yeah, that's another fucking
We
story.
couldn't drop to fourth.
No,
Isn't
they
there-
changed it. They changed it after the Red Wings lost on Lafreniere that you can't drop to lower than third. You can't drop lower than 2 spots.
So in that case, they'd only have 2 lotteries. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. And it's not like there's
wish we could
people in the
just
world
draft
that think. What's up? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, I wish we could just draft Connor Bedard this year. Fuck.
Bro, I'm saying, like, if you could trade the first overall pick this year for next year, I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think anybody would, but I
mean,
would.
let's be real. We're gonna suck next year too.
Oh, apparently not the Kent Hughes, because he came out and said we're not going to go for the first overall pick 2 years in a row. So maybe the Habs are going to start winning this year, and then hope to God that Connor Bedard is.
Yeah, facts.
But I don't think Shane Wright is the fit in Montreal. He's literally Nick Suzuki. You're literally going to have 2 Nick Suzukis on your team,
I mean, I wouldn't mind that.
which is not terrible, but you can't have 2 of the same guy in your top. I don't think Nick Suzuki is a number 1 center. I don't.
No,
And
Nick
a lot of
Suzuki's
people-
never going to be like a 90-plus point guy.
He's never going to be an elite number 1 center in the NHL that every Habs fan seems to think that he is. He's going to be a 70-point guy for the rest of his career.
I mean,
And might have that
we were
1
talking
year
about,
where he goes for 85 when Caulfield decides to find the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, but at the beginning of the year, we were talking about Nick Suzuki being on the Olympic team. Like,
No, he's gonna get looks on Team Canada. I just don't think he's ever gonna be on a perfect Stanley Cup winning team. Nick Suzuki's not your number 1 center. He's your number 2 and could slot up at first line if he needs to. I mean, you could win with 2 guys like Suzuki, so you could win with Shane Wright and Nick Suzuki at your 1 and 2. It's just not exactly the greatest system to run.
all right, I have absolutely nothing to add.
I think the one thing I just wanted to say about like Suzuki getting the captain, the only people that I feel like are going to push back are people that like are stuck in this world where like the vet of the team has to be the captain. But we've seen over the past few years with all these new captains being named that stigma is like being completely erased.
I don't
It's
think
being
there's going to be
completely-
a single person that argues the fact that Nick Suzuki deserves to be the captain.
I think it's going to be 50-50 split with Gallagher because I think that people are just going to be stuck on that narrative.
Gallagher can't be a captain, and he doesn't have the respect from the refs to be a captain.
That's one thing I heard a lot of.
I was just going to say, other than Gallagher, who, like, there's no other vets that are even, like, worthy of being, like, anywhere near this conversation, if you ask me. Like, especially
if I can name
Sherrod.
five.
Anderson, I could throw Anderson in there, but he's not like he's like one of those guys who leads on the ice. He's not like
Yeah,
in
he's
the
just-
locker room getting the
yeah.
boys up and going. You know, like
So is
Josh
Josh
is just like a
Anderson part
nose
of the
in the
rebuild?
dirt guy.
Josh Anderson's absolutely part of the rebuild. Josh Anderson's one of those hockey players that you can't find.
Yeah.
I
What about-
agree.
It took Montreal basically our whole lives to find a Josh Anderson.
I agree.
What about Joel Edmondson? I love that guy.
Edmonton's not going. I wouldn't be surprised if he was named the captain either. Like, if you want to go the vet route, Joel Edmondson would be a great pick to be the captain too.
True. Didn't even think about him because he hasn't played a fucking
Yeah.
game this year.
Yeah, literally. But we've seen a lot of young guys get the captain lately, and Montreal wants to go through that rebuild. There's no better guy to wear that C than Nick Suzuki.
Yeah.
Dang.
And you know what? The future does look bright. The two best players, in my opinion, this year for the Habs have been Nick Suzuki and Romanov. Who Romanov came out of nowhere because last year he wasn't exactly great, and Ducharme benched him every second game. So he came out and he took that this year, and he's by far been the Habs' best defenseman this year.
Remember how good Romanov was for the first 3 games last year?
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing now. This guy's stepping up on. I have not seen a game in 3 months that Romanov has not laid some guy out at the blue line.
You know what? Also, what I loved him punching fucking Paquette in the face.
Oh, that was the greatest thing I've ever. When I
Yeah.
saw that on Twitter, I jumped for joy. That was the greatest thing
I
I've
feel
ever
like
seen.
Romanov just has fucking balls of steel and just does
Yeah.
not care about anything.
Bro, they had to separate. They had
And
to.
winning game.
Paquette started the fight, and they had to pull Romanov off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just rushing as fuck.
Yeah. First of all,
Can we get some more?
I like Kent Hughes because he's not stupid enough to give Cedric Paquette an NHL contract.
Yeah. What the?
I say that, but watch him hand Cedric Paquette an extension at the end of the year.
All right. Well, we'll head into our last topic here, and that's probably the biggest topic in the world right now, and that's the Olympics. The Olympics are going on. Seems like Canada is underperforming in terms of medal count compared to the
Not at
last
all.
few years.
Definitely not. Canada's top 4 in medal count.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about if you're talking about standings because they counted gold medal wise. Does that
Sure.
make sense?
I'm so stupid that they count like that.
Yeah.
I count the damn medals.
But yeah, gold wise, definitely a drop off. But overall, medal wise, Canada's been insane. The U.S. has been surprising. Their numbers are very similar to ours. They usually, blow us out of the water. But no, Canada overall, I love the Olympics. I say it every time. I fucking love the Olympics. I watch it every night. But no, but the men's hockey, Shane, I know you're gonna go off a little bit, but fuck. Obviously, we knew it wouldn't be as exciting without the NHLers there, but
We're filming after Canada just got eliminated, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah,
I literally can't say. I think I watched I don't think I watched a full men's game
They just suck, dude. I
for
don't know.
the first. I think I
Bro,
watched
David Desharnais is on the team.
combined. I think I watched 4 periods of their games.
Yeah.
And the women's is different. I've watched every single women's game from start to end.
Yeah, because
And
you
the
got
guys,
money on it, baby.
I'm just I don't care. I actually watch women's hockey though, the World Junior, their juniors and shit. I find it interesting and stuff. I know,
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people don't tend to watch women's sports, but I think women's hockey, the way it's changed in the past, has been really great, and it's good for the sport. And Canada's turning into a little women's country over here. The way the women
yeah.
are carrying us. But yeah, the men. Oh man, it's laughable. It's like a joke. I feel like Denmark right now. That's how bad this team was.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't understand. It's a 0-0 game, and you bench the best goal scorer on the team because he's a kid, and you don't like playing kids. Why are you here? Claude Julien it just showed why he was a terrible pick to be the head coach. And I know you guys are going to say I'm being biased because I didn't like him when he was with the Habs. There's a reason that nobody in the NHL wants him, because the NHL is going to a young league, and he refuses to play young kids. He didn't play Romanov. He didn't play Paling. He started Suzuki on the 4th line. He doesn't play kids. He doesn't trust them. He doesn't put them in. Even if, bro, I guarantee you, if this guy had McDavid, he'd probably start him on the 4th line. I just don't understand what his problem is with kids, because this is where the game's going. It's speed. Kent Hughes could literally snipe it from any spot on the ice. In a 0-0 game, you said, fuck it, sit in the middle of the bench because you're 19, and I need David Desharnais out there because he's going to pass it to the other team so they could win. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
laughable.
Even Devin Levi has 10 shutouts in 20 games this year, didn't dress once. Like at some point, play him against China if you don't trust him. What, is China going to score 10 on him? No. Like, come on.
Yeah, and our neighbors down south, they lost in a shootout today, also this morning, to Slovakia. Matty Beniers did not go in the shootout.
Yeah.
The kid was a number 2 overall pick. It's in a, honestly, not to discredit the Olympics, but this tournament is worthless for at least Canada and the U.S. Like,
It was the weirdest thing too, though, because they had 10 minutes of 3-on-3, and I swear he played 4 or 5 minminutes of it. He was the only guy you noticed on the ice.
yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. I thought, I personally, I couldn't give a shit about men's hockey in this tournament this year, and I was just up late at night, and I got a notification saying that Slovakia tied it up. So I was like, I'm down to watch them 3-on-3. The only guy I really noticed was Matt Beniers, and I was just waiting for him to get his shot in the shootout, and it was just the weirdest thing. He never got it.
First of all, no elimination game, as much as I don't want the States to win, no elimination game should end in a shootout. That rule needs to go. IHF needs to fix that. It should have been fixed after Troy Terry absolutely dropped his nutsack on Team Canada like 4 years ago in the World Juniors. But it's got to go. No elimination game should be decided like that. But yeah, I don't understand. Like, the Olympics right now is just a bunch of old guys trying to get their last NHL contract, or kids that just got drafted, and every coach decides.
The Olympics. That's
every coach seems to decide, oh, I'm going to go with the guy who's not exciting to watch and doesn't have potential to score from anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go with the guy because I know he's going to win a faceoff. Like,
anyways.
There's a lot of people, like, I've been seeing this on Twitter, that people are like just like thrashing both men's and women's hockey because there's such a discrepancy in talent when it comes to the women's. And they were arguing that it was super messed up that China was playing in the men's tournament because, whatever, they're the 32nd ranked team. And then people were coming back and saying, well, listen, it's the same thing when it comes to women's hockey. The best game we're going to see in this whole tournament is going to be tonight, U.S. versus Canada, women's. 100%. No one's going to argue that. But saying that it's bad for hockey seeing USA in the first game in men's hockey beating China 8-0, it was the same thing. That's the equivalent of, in men's hockey, an Olympic team of Canada playing against the 32nd ranked team of New Zealand. And then it's different because in women's, Canada played against the 3rd ranked Finn team and beat them 11-1. So, like, if you want to talk about discrepancy, the women's tournament was boring. We all knew what was going to happen. This was what's going to happen. Everyone wanted to see Canada US, but we knew it was just going to be blowouts all over the place when it came to the games before. And
what the Olympics is doing is it's growing the game. Like, when you think back 10 years ago, even Finland in men's hockey was not anywhere near where Finland is right now. And now we're talking about Finland, even when the NHLers are there, Finland had a chance to be a medalist.
absolutely.
And, Slovakia is getting going now. They got some young guys coming in. Denmark's getting some names. Germany's got a top 5 player in the world right now in Leon Draisaitl. Like, it's growing the game to see, a kid waking up in the morning and turning on a Germany hockey game on the biggest stage in the world. Like that, then he's going to look at, I want to play. It's growing the game essentially, and that's what it's doing. But I don't know if you guys have anything to add, but I want to talk about the women. This women's team is the best women's team we've seen in our lives.
Yeah.
Sarah Nurse is 1 point away from tying Haley Wickenheiser's point total in a tournament. She has one game tonight and will probably break that. She's on the top line with Poulin and Jenner. Brianne Jenner already broke the record for most goals scored in a tournament. So did the Canadian team. Like, they still got one game left to play, and they've already broken these records. It's by far the best we've seen. The Canadian goalies have been lights out. It doesn't matter which one's in nets. They've been going nuts. The defense is jumping up in the rush. It's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see for women's hockey. The game is fast. These guys are scoring from anywhere. I know the goalies have not been good, but they're scoring from anywhere. And it's not like soft goals. Like these girls are sniping the puck, and this puck's moving. So I'm happy to see for the women's side. I'm
And
excited
there's a
for tonight.
Spooner on Team Canada. Go crazy.
Oh yeah, it's Dawson wants to know if he's related. So Natalie Spooner, if you're watching this, we need to get a little family tree going.
I gotta say, are we in for another a third straight Marie-Philippe Poulin overtime winner to win the gold? Like,
Boys, I'm actually fired up for tonight. I haven't been this excited for a game since well, I guess the World Juniors, but that got taken away from me.
we all know how that ended. Anyways, another classic in the making. U.S. versus Canada tonight, 11:10 p.m. I don't know what time it is, Beijing time, but
Two of the best goal
11:10
scorers in the
a.m.
world. Hillary Knight against Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Let's do it.
all right. With that being said, let's head into our lock of the week in terms of betting with consequences. I don't know if we really came up with a consequence this week. Did anyone really think of one?
We didn't. Whoever's lock doesn't hit has to pick up the newest NBC mascot. Cam got a dog. Has to pick up Cam's dog's poop for a week. Take some pressure off Cam, the new father.
What if Cam loses?
Then Cam has to pick up his dog.
What if you lose?
I will drive to Sherbrooke
every
two
second
times a
out.
day.
No, you gotta
Oh,
wake up at 3 a.m. with him.
Anyways, we'll figure out a consequence and get back to you. But this week, I don't know, man. I feel like with football, I mean, I've been betting football for the past 20 weeks, so this is kind of a change of direction here. But my lock of the week, don't take my advice because I couldn't care less. Habs Blues on Thursday to go over. Taking a page out of Shaner's book.
I think every Habs game is just a lock to go over.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Maybe Hammond's back and the Habs are going to make the playoffs here.
Hamburglar.
Oh, I know. I don't know what the odds are at. Don't care. Team LeBron is winning the All-Star game.
Facts, bro. Oh my God. I swear,
It's
like Kevin Durant doesn't know how to draft, man. Every year.
Not close.
I literally don't think he
What the
cares.
fuck?
I think he's
Yeah.
just
He
there to
doesn't
have
give a
fun.
fuck.
That was also the funniest draft I've ever that was the funniest thing. When Charles Barkley said that James Harden was traded, so he's healthy now. That killed me.
Yeah. But yeah, Team LeBron, you're All-Star winners.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with some Atlantic 10 college basketball. The UMass
man.
Minutemen.
The guy's a fucking degen.
LBS
If
is
you're about
down
to bet on
bad.
the UMass Minutemen,
Listen.
LBS is down bad.
The UMass Minutemen are traveling to St. Bonaventure, taking on the Bonnies. I'm taking the Bonnies minus 11.5 at home. The Minutemen are going to be crying their way back home after a 20-point loss. I don't want to hear it. St. Bonnies, take me home.
Speaking of what we just spoke about, Team Canada women, gold medal tonight. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. Lock it up. It's at like minus 240 right now, so the value is not good at all considering they could lose, but they're not going to. So throw the mortgage on it.
Lock it in. Take me home, Canada. That's where we're going.
Yes, sir.
Take me to the bank.
Canada goes for gold. Headline. But that does it for
Shane and
episode
Cam go to the
59.
bank.
Okay.
Headline.
That does it for episode 59 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. Thanks for listening. Like this video, share, follow us on Instagram at Nothing But Controversy, and Shaner will give you a kiss. Take care, everybody.